what is one thing that you thought that it was true about wealth that you found out was a lie?
That it makes you a worse person. I think it just amplifies who you are. Before I wanted everyone to like me. Now I like me. If someone else can do it, why can't we? I have a saying, you're either going to sacrifice for what you want or what you want becomes the sacrifice.
How do you balance not being desperate, knowing you need money?
Trust.
Trust the process.
Just trust yourself. Focus on your mindset. Focus on your skill set, focus on your habits, because those are the three most important factors to your success. Master the skills that you need to build the life that you're looking to build.
You looked at him and you said, this guy has a stain on his shirt. And if you take care of you this way, how are you going to take care of my money?
Zig Ziglar said it best. The best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want.
Yes.
So if something I said can make someone else $1 million, it doesn't take from me. More money is not more problems.
Yeah.
More money is less problems. You're never going to outperform your own self-image.
Wow.
That's why I tell people, if you want to raise your net worth, raise your self-worth. If you want to be a top performing sales professional, stop selling and start helping.
All right. Well, you guys have asked and we have delivered over 6,000 requests to have this gentleman on our podcast. And, you know, people have been just nonstop. You interviewed Wolf of Wall Street. You interviewed Patrick Bet-David. But you haven't interviewed this guy. And everybody's asking, can you please interview the real Brad Lea? And now we're here in Las Vegas, Nevada, interviewing Brad Lea. Brad, thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate that.
Dude, my pleasure.
And not only that, you know, you're so generous. You're letting us use your multi-millionaire studio and letting us use your equipment. So I appreciate that very much.
Well, you're welcome, buddy. I'm flattered that somebody asked to get me.
Well, it's not somebody. It's over 6,000 people.
Well, then you got quite a few listeners. I'm surprised.
Yes.
I'm not that you have listeners, but that they asked for me.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be here.
Oh yeah. So, you know, this brings back memories. I don't know if you know how we met or remember how we met. 8 years ago, you spoke 10X GrowthCon, and you spoke on stage. No one really knew who Brad Lea was then. You know, you were just building your brand, and you did this, you know, keynote, and everybody's like, holy shit, who is this guy? This guy was real. He was raw. He dropped some bombs, and everybody was rushing to go take a picture with you. And then I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna, you know, go in the line and wait, and this isn't gonna happen. And then I bumped into you in Starbucks, and then I'm like, hey, can I take a picture? Like, sure. We took a picture. We talked for a couple of minutes. But the next day, I come to you, and you acted like you didn't even remember me. So I'm like, shit, what? Like, I messed up. You know, I met somebody that's successful, somebody that just spoke on stage, but didn't even remember who I was. And I said to you, I said, I'm going to make sure the next time we meet, you remember me. 2 days later, I fly out to Vegas, and I just show up to your office, and I said, hey, Brad, I need your help. Here's what's happening with my business. You know, I just started a business in an attic with 4-6 guys, and this is how I'm stuck, and this is what's happening. You gave me an hour and a half of your time. I took that, and my business took off. Today, you know, we're number one partner for Verizon. We are, you know, dominate telecom industry. We're the fastest growing company in the United States when it comes down to telecom, and it couldn't be possible if it wasn't for you. So I want to say thank you for that hour and a half that you changed my life with.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy, but I would say it was because of you that it blew up. It wasn't because of me. It was because of you.
Okay. Why do you think that? Why do you think it was because of me? Because if you never sat down and gave me the nuggets.
Well, again, I mean, I might have given you some information, but you decided to use it or throw it out or whatever you did to go blow it up. But I didn't ever go to your office. I didn't talk to your guys. I didn't put in the long hours. I didn't do any of that. All I did was give you some information maybe. I don't even remember what I gave you that was so powerful. I'd love to know. But who took it and did something with it?
Me.
That's who did it.
Yeah.
See, people always DM me and say, hey, you know, you changed my life. And I always say, thank you. It's nice to get credit. But in reality, they changed their life. See, like you're giving me credit for blowing up your business. Dude, you blew up your business. That's the thing. And that's what most people need to understand.
Wow.
you know, because we have the power to choose, bro. It boils down to choice. You want to see how simple it is? I call it heavenly energy, earthly energy. Okay, so we have the ability to choose. God gave us free will. Free will is the ability to choose. So, and when people say, you know, all you got to do is tap into the power and, you know, the power is within you, and they don't tell you what the power is, and you think of this magical thing that you need to discover. Well, think about it simply. The power that you were given is free will. And free will allows you to pick heavenly energy or earthly energy. Now, heavenly energy is what you imagine it to be. Courage, abundance, optimism, you know, love, happiness, enthusiasm, excitement, courage. Earthly energy is doubt, fear, anxiety, worry, envy, greed, shame, guilt. So down here are all these negative energies. Up here's all these great energies.
Yes.
That's why I call them heavenly and earthly. So the power to choose is the power to determine, do I want to operate at this frequency or this frequency? And it doesn't matter what happens to you, you still get to choose.
Yeah.
So same goes with me giving you advice. You could have chosen to throw it out. You could have chosen to be skeptical. You could have chosen to be envious and distrustful. You chose to take action, and hopefully, you know, that did contribute, but you did it. And that's what everybody needs to understand. You're responsible. You're the one. Nobody's going to change your life. Only you can do it. And you do it, if you're smart, by simply realizing, choose to operate in earthly energy, no matter what happens. Because because when you choose an energy to vibrate that frequency, it attracts more of it.
Why wouldn't people choose that? Why would people choose earthly energy rather than, you know, heavenly energy?
Because they don't realize it, and we're conditioned. And because we're surrounded by negativity, and negativity is a powerful energy.
Sure.
And again, I mean, your frequency is what you frequently see. So if you're constantly around negativity and negative environments, well, then you're bound to become negative yourself. And if you grew up with parents that, you know, were scarcity based, well, then you're bound to be scarce. You know, think in limits, you know.
Did you ever see a study they did? They took a rotten strawberry and they put it next to a healthy strawberry, and within like literally a day, that strawberry becomes infected with, you know, being rotten as well.
Dude, there's a book on water where they say positive words to water and negative words to water. The water molecules, like down at the cellular level. And you can see when there's positive energy, the, you know, designs are beautiful and just gorgeously ornate, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then when you spoke to the water negatively, it became like almost dead and deformed, and it was crazy. There's a book on it. You Google book on water. I forget the name.
Gotcha.
Dude, the energy is real. We're all vibrating in energy.
Right.
And the whole world is vibrational, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. So if you get to choose what vibration and frequency you operate in, and you realize the one you choose will cause more of it to come your way.
Sure.
Why would you choose negative? Why would you choose earthly?
Absolutely. In your book, you said, you know, leopards don't change their spots, right? But you're not a leopard, so you're going to go ahead and change. So why do you think people don't change? And is it wrong for people like mentors, leaders, to force change upon someone when they're not ready?
Well, I believe people do change.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think people embrace change like they should.
Interesting.
Because it's uncomfortable. And ultimately, the discomfort is what they're trying to avoid. And that's the very thing that strengthens them and changes them the most. You know, I was chat GPTing one day, and I typed in, you know, what would you do if you were Satan? What would you do to keep a man from being successful? And it said, number one, I would fill his mind with doubt and fear. I would whisper things like, you're not good enough. It's too risky. Number two, I would distract him with instant gratification, make him want everything immediately so he doesn't do anything long enough to pay off. Number three, I'd surround him with negative influence.
Wow.
Number four, I'd give him victim mentality. Number 5, I'd keep him comfortable. I'd make sure he had nothing to strengthen him.
Sure.
Number 6, I'd make him think that everything needed to be planned out before he took any action. Number 7, I would erode his confidence. Number 8, I would make him focus on external rewards rather than internal. Number 9, I'd give him poor habits, especially health, because the worse the body is, the worse the mind is. And then I would remove his sense of urgency. And by doing these things, I wouldn't have to touch him because he would sabotage his own success.
Wow.
So if you think about it, just reverse those. Get a sense of urgency, get some killer habits, focus inward. That's where the answers lie. Build your confidence. Quit being freaking humble and all the things we're taught to be. Take action. Don't plan everything. Just take action. Get uncomfortable. I mean, people pray for strength and then curse the things that make them strong. Right. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's like, God, make me strong, and then when something gets tough, they run.
Yeah.
It's one and the same.
Have you seen the movie Bruce Almighty when the lady's like, hey, I just need some patience? And the guy goes and says, well, this is exactly what God's going through. He's putting you through you waiting. The best way to go through patience is actually be in a moment of waiting for something. And that's what people don't understand. They ask for a blessing. But when we go through the process of learning how to get that blessing, we quit and we say, oh, no, it wasn't that. We are too blind to see what's prepared for us.
Well, you read my book?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe necessarily in patience in every case.
You don't?
No. Only because patience, if you look up the definition, is basically the ability to experience trouble, challenge, or delay without becoming upset. And again, that's nice, but I would recommend the opposite if it's financially related, because people want to get rich. They need to lose their patience. Sure. They need to increase their activities. Sure. They need to scream louder, run harder, but they don't. They're saying, just have patience, Albert. Things will come. Just have patience. Yeah. When in reality, that delays things. Like, you can increase intensity.
One of the things you taught me, and the reason why I remember is because you said, don't be humble. And I'm like, what do you mean? Don't be. Everybody in the world tells everybody to be humble. Everybody tells them, hey, calm down, kill your ego, stop what you're doing. But you told me, like, stop being humble. You have so much ability to be great, but you're just too humbling. And I said, why? And you gave me a definition. You said humble means is lowering one important self. And I remember that. And, there's many opportunities that I blocked myself from because I was staying too humble. And when you're humble, you are patient. But to me, your definition of patience is, could be negative or positive. But the way I understood it is that if I'm humble, I'm letting other people take my food. I'm letting other people play the part that I should be playing. I should be more aggressive and going out there and taking on the challenges that other people told me not to do because maybe I was trying to be on the spotlight. And, if I was not taking the urgency, if I was not doing anything, I would not fly out that 48 hours later to come see you. People always ask me, why'd you do that? Like, what gave you just the right to do that? Like, how did you know he was going to be there? How did you know, he was going to slam the door? I was like, I didn't know. I just took the action. And, they say it's not the guy that holds the dice. It's the guy that rolls the dice that wins. So to me, you taught me, one of the biggest lessons you gave me, you just go freaking after it. Stop sitting on the sidelines. You either take your jersey off or you put your jersey on and get in the field and play. So that to me completely changed everything because I stopped stopping myself from going after bigger opportunities. And that opened many doors for myself. Another lesson that you gave me, which I want you to touch on, is being grateful. Many times we see the challenges, we see the problems, and then we wake up in the morning and we're like, oh, today is going to be a shitty day because of whatever the problem you're going through. But you taught me that no matter what happened the day before, you got to be grateful and thankful that you got another chance to wake up because many people didn't. And that really rewired my mindset to say, you know what? Many people didn't get a chance to play the game today. I have the chance to play the game and I'm going to go play it to the best of my ability. How did you learn to be grateful? What experience shaped you to be able to say, you know what? Average person doesn't know that. Average person is has a victim mindset. How did you learn? What made you learn to be grateful?
I think over time I just realized it. I can tell you though, by doing that, you're choosing the second you wake up heavenly energy. So again, the simple choice of, do I want to be positive or negative? Do I want to live up here? Do I want to live down here? And when you wake up and realize how valuable that is, and you truly are grateful that you just get to live. You don't need $1 million falling in your lap. You don't need everything great to happen. All you need is to open your eyes and realize you get another day. And that right there, and you're truly grateful, you're choosing heavenly energy as soon as you pick gratitude. You could have picked fear. You could have picked greed. You could have picked all kinds of things, but you picked gratitude. And again, what you pick starts to bring more of it.
Right.
So when you just make a simple shift and just start being grateful, that's making the right choice. You're picking heavenly energy, and hopefully throughout the day, you don't change that choice by allowing these negative thoughts and people and self-talk in some cases to change your choice.
That one principle completely transformed my life. We have over 160 people now in our telecom company. And every morning, one of the rules for our company is that you have to put what you're grateful for in our company chat. For you to be part of our culture, you have to, choose that heavenly energy, but you got to let everyone know what are you grateful for. And people are doing that, and you have no idea how many times people came to me and said, you have no idea, I have so many problems, but you have kind of center my focus to focus on what I'm grateful for, that instantly increase my energy, instantly increase my mood. And to me, that was a lesson that completely can change everybody's life. Now, it can for sure. Brad, many of the people that wanted you on the show, they wanted to know who is the real Brad Lea. They see your reels, they see your Instagram, they see your podcast, but they want to know the truth in terms of, growing up. Were you always this confident? Growing up, did you grow up with money? Did you grow up in a household that didn't have money? Did you grow up with a family that had entrepreneurship? Or you grew up in a blue-collar family? Can you tell us more about your childhood?
I grew up in a blue-collar family, Pacific Northwest. I wouldn't say I was confident. I was cocky. I was braggadocious. And ultimately, that was just insecurity, because ultimately I had the kind of parenting where they thought children should be seen and not heard. So I didn't get a lot of hugs and support emotionally. But again, I credit that to me. So I'm happy in that. But at the same time, that's probably why I was a little insecure. I was constantly seeking attention and or adoration. You know what I mean? So now though, it's different. Like before I wanted everyone to like me. Now I like me. There's a difference. I didn't really like me then. I didn't always make the best choices. I had a victim mentality. But now again, as we trade youth for wisdom, but as you get a little wiser, you start to realize it's not, what everybody else thinks is something I don't control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't choose your emotions. Like I could say to you something that gets you really angry.
Sure.
Right. And then someone will say, what happened? And you go, well, Brad walked in the room and said something unbelievably rude. And so I got pissed. And if he says, so Brad got you pissed? And you say, yeah, you're incorrect. Like you chose to be pissed.
Right.
You chose to respond the way you did. You chose the energy that you were going to operate in. So you allowed me to take your power.
Yeah.
So why would we let anyone take our power? Like our power's ours. We were gifted this power, and we can go through life and use it for good or we can use it for bad. And what people don't realize is deep down subconsciously, they don't believe they're worth anymore because of the programming and the environments and all of the things that factor into it. And they don't realize they have the power just to choose differently. Like Choose to operate with gratitude. Choose to operate with abundance. Choose to operate with belief in yourself.
There's a quote that says, being angry and expecting someone else to be hurt is like drinking poison and expecting them to die.
Yeah.
You're choosing the negative energy. You're choosing, to be angry by losing control and giving up control to that person.
Yeah.
So
well, when you say something negative online, consider that your environment, right? You're online too. You're in the world too.
Sure.
So if you say something that's poison, you just contributed poison. Even though it wasn't directed at you, you were directing it at someone else, you just contributed poison to your environment. Like, why would you choose to contribute poison for any reason?
I agree. Growing up, you had a habit of lying.
Big time.
And, you said you lied because you wanted to fit in. You lied because you wanted people to accept you and you wanted to be liked and you wanted attention. People that are lying, right? They're looking for that love. They're looking for attention. What do you think happened in your childhood that you didn't get attention and that you learned to lie? How did you learn to lie?
Well, I learned to lie just by simply, trying to fit in. It was like survival. Everybody wants to fit in. Like It's a human instinct to fit in. Everybody wants to fit in, which is crazy because now that I know better, like who wants to fit in?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we want to be wanted. We want to be liked. It's a basic human instinct. So when I didn't have the things everybody else had, I just assumed that if I didn't have them, nobody would like me. So I would just say that we had them, claim that we were rich, claim that we had what we didn't.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it backfired, obviously, because, lies don't last forever. You forget what you lied about. Someone else comes along and proves you incorrect.
Sure.
And I think in life, one of your most important things is your reputation. So when people say, I only have my word and my boss and I don't break them for no one.
Scarface.
That should be everybody's motto. Do what you say, even if you disagree, just do what you say you're going to do. And that'll go a long way with your confidence. A lot of people don't have confidence because deep down, they know that they're full of it.
When is it okay to lie?
I think if you're going to lie, there would be, it would be okay to like save someone from harm, or yourself.
Can you explain that?
Like if I told the truth, 3 guys are going to bash your face in. Well, then, I think it's okay to lie. Why? To save your face from being bashed in. Or, if I were going to lie because I was going to get my face bashed in, then I would think it'd be okay to lie, or at least it'd be wise. Because who's to judge when it's okay? Like in my mind, when you said that, I'm thinking, would I ever lie? Because again, we all lie, right? At some point, somehow, even to ourselves. And anyone that says they would never lie or have never lied is lying, right?
Sure.
So again, we all lie. The question is when is it okay? Well, I think it's okay when you save somebody or yourself some serious harm.
Interesting. I have a definition for lie, L-I-E, lack in execution. The reason why we lie is because we aren't able to deliver. And a lot of times, I'm very honest with the people that I work with. And they say, well, that hurt my feelings. And I say to them, you know what? I could either slap you with the truth or kiss you with a lie. But a lot of people, they're looking for that validation. They're looking for you to lie to them to make them feel good. Do you think if the person is seeking that and they love that you continue to feed them that? Or is the reality check that they need to wake up?
Well, I said, you only lie when you're going to cause serious harm. Telling someone the truth, which is going to cause them good, is not an excuse to lie. So I always say love ain't lies. To me, it's like if you really want the best for someone, sometimes the truth, even though they think is going to harm them, it's actually better for them. Yeah. So again, serious harm is the only time I would condone a lie. When it's factual that, hey, if you'd have told the truth, something major bad would have happened to somebody, well then, you know, I could see lying. But other than that, I'd tell people the truth. You know, people ask me all the time, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And then I'm the guy that they're mad at because I told them the truth.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Brad's rude.
Sure.
Well, why am I rude? Well, because you said this and this and that. You could have said it better. You could have said it nicer. You could have lied. Well, again, dude, you already said it. You want me to smack you with a lie or hug you with the truth? What was it?
I can either slap you with the truth or kiss you with a lie.
Yeah, I mean, personally, love ain't lies. And so sometimes, you know, the best thing for the situation is the truth.
Yeah.
And 99.99% of the time, I would say that that's the case.
And I know there's going to be haters typing, you know, the trolls are going to say, well, what about the wife that you love who's pregnant and she's overweight and she's asking you, babe, how do I look? And you say, you look great, even if she doesn't. Is that a lie?
Well, do you believe she looks great?
Yeah.
Then it isn't a lie.
Okay.
Now, does everyone else think she might be a little overweight? That's everyone else's opinion.
Sure.
If my wife asked me, babe, do I look great? And she was overweight, I would say whatever I believed, yes. And if I thought, no, she doesn't, then I would say, don't ask me that question. And,
wow.
And she would know that means she's not going to like the answer. My wife, fortunately, is smaller framed, so she doesn't get too crazy.
Sure.
But at one point, she was getting a little bit crazy. If you called her right now and asked her what I said to her, you know, and guess what? She freaking got in shape.
Wow.
Took, and by the way, she's done it to me too.
Yeah.
Because love ain't lies, dude. I'm not going to sit there and fall, you know, physically unattracted to my wife because I'm afraid to say, babe, it's time to get in shape. It's time to lay down the donuts and start working out. Why? Because I'm not going to be physically attracted to you, and that could cost us our marriage. Would you rather have that?
Wow.
Would you rather me just cheat? Would you rather me just like divorce you and go find a newer model sedan?
Sure. Would you agree that you can only do that when you're also willing to back it up? Like you can't ask your wife to do something you're not willing to do when she asks you to do it. And not just your wife, but anyone.
I'm not willing to have a baby, but you know, yeah, but in theory, yes. I mean, again, she always tells me she likes me no matter how I am. But if you called her and asked her the truth and said, so if Brad was 600 pounds, it would be okay, she'd say no.
Absolutely.
Not that much. Exactly. So her acceptance, you know, range might be bigger than mine.
Yeah.
But again, you know, I'm just telling the truth. I'm not going to lie to her. I'd tell her. And I'd want someone to tell me. You know, I got pretty freaking chunky. I got pictures where I'm pretty chunky.
Yes.
Dude, nobody except for a few people ever said, bro, and I wouldn't listen to them because they were normally haters, you know. I thought they were just being rude when in reality, those are the guys that I should have been listening to, and those are the guys that actually cared the most.
Sure.
Because the ones that said, no, you look great. No, I didn't.
It goes back to another advice that you gave me, your image. You know, remember one of the biggest lines that you used to drop is, go fix your teeth. Don't go try to close a $100,000 deal when you're missing 2 teeth on the front. Right? Go take care of yourself, right? You go take care of your image. That was a big one for me, right? Because you focus so much on money and you're chasing money that you're forgetting to take care of you. And then the quality of the energy that you operate on is so below that you can never reach the high level relationships, high level deals, because no one wants to talk to you. I don't know if you remember this. We were sitting in your office and a guy from a bank showed up and he asked you how he wants to take over all your banks and move you from one bank to another bank. And the first thing you did, he was like, yeah, call me, you know, I'm busy right now, but call me, you know, next week, blah, blah, blah. And you kind of let him go. But then you looked at me and you said, this guy has a stain on his shirt. Do you think I'm going to trust this guy with my money? And I was like, wow, paying attention to detail. You looked at him and you said, look at how you take care of you. And if you take care of you this way, how are you going to take care of my money? And it's because people don't take care of their image to show others that, look, I am operating at the highest level, elite level, not only at my job, not only in my family, but in all areas of my life. And that attracts higher energy and higher result.
Yes, it does. You're never going to outperform your own self-image.
Wow. Okay. You're never going to outperform your self-image. Okay. Now,
that's why I tell people, if you want to raise your net worth, raise your self-worth.
Sure.
Like raise the value you have for yourself, and your income will raise.
I agree. When you were 2 years old, you almost died.
Supposedly did.
Supposedly did. Can you share that?
Yeah, I drank turpentine from under the sink, got rushed to the hospital. When I showed up, supposedly I was dead, but obviously was revived since. But yeah, that's where I kind of, wrote the chapter on patience, because my dad walked in and they told him that they just assumed he had a dead baby. And so they just told him, relax, calm down, have patience. A doctor's coming. They were just saying have patience so he'd quit freaking out. Well, he freaked out and just kept freaking out and got a doctor, grabbed him by the throat type of thing and got him to go to work on me. And by the way, those doctors said, miraculous. It was like last minute type of thing, last second type of thing. Like, that's why I say, patience will kill you, sometimes. Same thing with my son, who, a car seat was faulty, fell on his head, had no blood, no cuts, no crying, no nothing. But my wife at the time rushed him to the hospital, and they told her to have patience. She was freaking out. Same story. Guy came out, scanned his head, and rushed him for emergency surgery. Said if we'd have waited 5 minutes, he'd probably be dead.
Oh my! How old was he?
Coincidentally, 2.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
What do you think? A lot of people don't know this about you, but I think more and more that I spend time with you, you believe in God, and you're very educated and you're very intelligent when it comes down to the history of God and the name of Jesus and all that. Why do you think you were saved? Have you ever thought about you're 2 years old, you could have died, but yet your father freaking out, doctors comes in and they save you. Do you ever question why you were saved?
Not really.
Why?
I mean, I think every parent would do their best.
Sure.
So, I don't really question. I wonder why me, I would question why not me. You know what I mean?
That's the confidence in you.
Well, I mean, again, to me, bro, at the end of the day, if someone else can do it, why can't we?
Right.
If someone else is worthy, why aren't we? I don't think, when I see people and people are like, oh, this guy, he's got so much more money and this guy's so much better than you. Is he, or is he just ahead of me? Is he better than me? Who is better than you? Well, at what? Michael Jordan's better at basketball. Well, again, there's probably things I'm better at than Michael at.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, man, it's like if someone else can do it, it's just evidence that so can you. And when you think if you don't agree with what I just said, for example, you have some sort of limitation going on, I think, in your mind.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to be successful and they're like, Brad, just give me 3 things: focus on your mindset, focus on your skill set, focus on your habits. Because those are the 3 most important factors to your success. If your mindset's not in the right place, you're not going to be able to build your skills. And the skills that are necessary, especially in today's day and age: sales, communication, relationships, personal branding, and marketing. Those 5 things. Anybody listening? You go master sales. Sales alone, by the way, will make you rich.
Yeah.
Marketing alone, by the way, make you rich. Relationships make you rich. Matter of fact, all the money you'll ever receive is from a relationship. You realize that?
Yes.
Something dawned on me the other day that I thought was pretty interesting. When we're born, we require relationships or we die. Like, relationships are required.
Yes.
Or you die.
Yep.
And then when you die, relationships are desired. So they're required to live and they're desired after it's all over and you're not going to anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to look at their trophy cases. Nobody's checking their bank balance one more time before they pull the plug or that's it. They require loved ones. All they care about are relationships. They don't care if they're broke. They don't care about anything other than people, relationships.
Right.
So why, if it's so important and vital in the beginning of life, and that's the only thing you can think about or talk about or want, and I don't think anyone argues this really, at the end of life, why do we forget how important they are during life?
Right.
So to me, it's just like relationships are the key, but building relationships, marketing, communication, sales, and personal branding.
Yeah.
Those 5 things
Will change your whole life.
Buddy, a personal brand, like, it took me a long time to build this company into an 8-figure company. I've probably built 3 more, 4 more, 5 more with a personal brand in 3 years. I just built one in the last 4 months. It's already doing roughly 12 million a year. And it's all based on the personal brand that I've built for myself. So again, if somebody's thinking, yeah, but that's because you're rich and good looking. Listen, I haven't always been rich.
Yes.
That's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. Personal brand, massive skill set. But the reason why people can't develop those things is because of their mind, their mindset. They don't have control of their mind. Albert, if I gave you a PlayStation 5 and all the games,
sure,
and all those games had all the cars and all the weapons and all the tokens and all the skins unlocked, I mean, dude, you had everything.
Right.
That's life. What if you didn't have a controller? What would all that be worth?
Worthless.
That's your mind. So people don't realize, but they need to take control of that.
Sure.
And once they can control that, well, then they can get the skill sets.
Right.
But if you think, oh, that's going to take too long, I can't do it. I'm only freaking, 100 pounds. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not 7 feet tall. Like, those are all limitations. That's your mind playing tricks on you. And you got to get control of that damn thing.
I couldn't agree more with you.
Yeah. So once you have control of your mind, then you go to the next area.
Yeah.
Master the skills that you need to build the life that you're looking to build.
Yes.
And, mine are sales, communication, personal branding, marketing, and relationships. Those things are what anyone that wants to make a lot of money and have a rich life, a truly rich life, need to master.
Yep.
But it takes time. It takes freaking brain damage. It takes freaking effort and grit and discipline and all that. Without the mindset, that's not happening. And then the last one is habits.
Yeah.
The habits that you form are so massively important to somebody's future. It's unbelievable. So again, look at your habits and I'll show you your life.
Absolutely. One of the things that we do in my company, and we have a 75% retention for our salespeople. And the reason why we have 75% retention is because we don't go in and say, let's teach you how to sell. That's not our first curriculum. Our first curriculum is, let's change your self-conception. What's going on in here? Who do you see yourself as? What's your self-worth? If you don't think you're good enough, if you're afraid of the phones, you don't think money is good, we have to change that. So that way,
that's your mindset.
That's your mindset. So once the mindset's fixed, then the skill set is easy because now you believe that you're worthy of learning that skill set. And that's why a lot of people, they go to college, they get a degree, and they never do anything with the degree because their mindset is not developed to match that degree, to say, you know what, I am going to be a doctor, or I am going to go be an engineer, or whatever the case that people go to school for. But we teach people that they need to change their self-conception. Who do you see yourself as? When you look in the mirror, do you like you? Or do you hate the person in the mirror? And that is the reason why you're overweight. That is the reason why you're lazy. That's the reason why you seek comfort, because you don't love the person you look in the mirror. And then we work on their image, and then they work on their ideal self. Who do you want to be? Do you have a hero in your life? Is there somebody that you look and you say, you know what, I want to have their life? Look how they're dressed. Look how they talk. Who do they hang out with? What kind of car do they drive? What zip code do they live in? So we build that first, and then we take them to a training and teach them how to sell. Because we learn that if we're teaching them how to sell, they'll make a couple deals, but eventually they end up quitting because they don't believe they're good enough to stay in sales.
Yeah, well, no wonder you're successful then. That's probably why you're the fastest growing and the most successful. You're whether intentionally or not, hitting on the fundamentals.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people all the time, there's mindset, skill set, habits. And if you can master those, bro, you're unstoppable. Like, you can literally do anything you want in life. And then people will be like, no, well, not anything. And I'm like, see?
Brad, let's just say I'm 18 years old and I live in a bad environment. Mom, dad, not good.
Yep.
Friends, not good. Here I am walking into a company that has a great opportunity. I'm good in the company, but as soon as I go home, I'm back into the disaster mode.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to be able to not fall a victim and escape that?
Create a new home.
Create a new home.
Yeah, quit going back to that home. Either change the home to one that you can go back to, or find a new one.
Okay.
Again, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
You got to eliminate negative influence.
I agree.
You know, sometimes that is the biggest problem for people. They hang around the wrong people. They are in the wrong environment, and they'll never get out because of it.
Yeah.
To where literally they're basically saying to all those people in those environments, you guys are more important than me, so I'm going to remain with you, even if it means I'm going to pay with my life. I'm going to pay with my dreams. My dreams are not important. See, there's nobody on this earth that would cause me to do that. People say, what about your children? Again, bro, listen, the most important person in my life is me. And that's how I can be the best for everybody else that is important also. But no one's more important in my life than me. Now, some people would say, so you wouldn't die for your kids? Of course I would. That has nothing to do with what I just said. What I said is, I'm the most important person. I have to factor me first. And most people don't do that. Why? Because we're taught that's selfish.
But that's the thing, right? Most people are willing to die for their kids, but they're not willing to live for their kids.
There's a bomb button over there.
Where is that?
The one with the bomb on it.
This one, I think. All right.
That's right. You say you're selling, you're willing to die for your kids, but you won't live for them.
Yeah.
You know, you won't work out. You won't pay the price. And what's crazy is there's a price either way. You're going to pay a price one way or the other.
Yes.
Like, people don't understand that. It's like, to me, it's so simple. It's like, listen, there's a price to getting in shape and there's a price to being fat, right?
Yes.
So what price is it to be fat? Well, do you want to be fat? No. Well, then who cares what the price is? It's too much. It's too much.
Sure.
Now over here, I want to be in shape. Well, then what's the price? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares what the price is?
Yeah.
Who cares what the price is for what you don't want, and who cares what the price is for what you do want? Well, most people, they're not realizing, working out's going to take too much time. I can't really do it because of this reason and that reason. You know, I got an injury when I was young. You know, you don't understand, I have a food addiction. That's all what the devil was talking about, dude. Victim mentality, the bad environments, instant gratification. You got to change those.
Wow.
You got to reverse them.
Brad, you made millions upon millions of dollars. You spoke on hundreds of stages. You have mentored, some of the top entrepreneurs. And a lot of people, they say, well, Brad is wealthy. Brad has a lot of money. What is one thing that you thought that it was true about wealth that you found out was a lie?
So far, that it makes you a worse person. I think it just amplifies who you are. So if you were, if money made you a bad person, you were a bad person before you had money.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of that hasn't been true is doesn't make you a bad person.
Money root of all evil.
More money, more problems.
Yeah.
Not true. Not true. That is not true. More money, less problems.
Yeah.
Okay. Money solves problems. Money provides options and resources and solutions and access and money is not more problems.
Yeah.
More money is less problems. So if people stopped listening to these rap songs, they'd probably be better off.
I love it. Now, you said something in one of the interviews, and you said, aren't we all acting? And today in the social media world, there's a lot of actors. There's a lot of fake gurus. There's a lot of people that are stealing other people's things and they're recreating the content and they're throwing it and making it their own. But they truly don't have the wealth. They truly don't have the wisdom. And they haven't gone through a hard way of learning. And they're just taking other people's, stories and challenges. How do you identify who is real and who is not?
Well, I think you just, look at their track record.
Is it just money?
Well, not for me.
Okay.
I'm going to look at a guy's integrity. I'm going to look at a guy's circle of friends. I'm going to look at their family. I'm going to look at their influence. I'm going to look to see if they made mistakes, if they admit those mistakes, if they learned from those mistakes. Mm-hmm. I'd like to make sure a guy had, 30, 40 years in business. Why? So he's been stabbed, he's been cheated, he's been sued.
Yep.
There might be someone that just became successful and all of a sudden you think they know everything. Well, why?
Yeah.
Why would they know everything? They haven't lived very long. Like, are you smarter than you were when you were 15?
100%.
Do you think you'll be smarter at 60 than you are now?
100%.
So again, I like to look at people with some experience because to me, those people are the ones that I want to listen to,
right,
and get advice from because they've lived. So again, if you're seeking mentorship and building AI, well then sure, someone 25 might be the guy. But if you're looking for life advice and business advice and you're taking it from someone that doesn't have any, I would just say, look at their track record. And you should and listen and trust your intuition. I see people on sometimes talking about me. They're saying, this guy's a snake oil salesman. Well, as long as you put the word salesman in there, I'm okay. Why? Well, because I am a salesperson. At the end of the day, anyone that talks negatively of me doesn't know me. So it doesn't bother me at all. I've had people that claim they know me and are talking negatively. They clearly don't know me.
Do you think they don't know you or they don't understand you?
They don't know me.
Is there a difference in knowing and understanding?
Well, I'd have to put some thought
because
to that.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that know who Brad Lea is.
Know of me is not the same as
like
knowing
they know
me.
you. They're close to you.
Yeah, but knowing me, dude, if you know me, you know that all I'm trying to do is help people. I don't have a mean bone in my body. I'm not trying to rip anyone off. I wouldn't sell you anything that I didn't think was more valuable than the price I was asking for it. And all I do is look to help people. So who could be mad at that?
Right. But there are people who are mad at that because they don't understand where you're coming from.
They're mad at that because deep down in their subconscious, maybe it's a shortcoming they have. Maybe it's some that they wish they had, and they're choosing envy, and they're choosing lies, and they're choosing deceit, instead of facing the truth. And the truth is, man, I admire that guy. So they hate on you instead.
Yeah.
You ever get those people?
All the time.
Like if someone makes fun of you for wearing a suit, I remember I used to think a suit meant success. So I wore a suit every day, even when I went out. Like, dude, I had a suit on every single day. Why? Because I thought that meant you were successful. Even though deep down I knew I wasn't. I wanted to look that way. Now it's like, listen, I'll wear a suit on occasion if I need to, or there's an occasion to, married or buried, I usually say. But to me, it's not about what everybody else thinks about you. That's where everyone gets it wrong. Oh. It's what you think about you. It's doing the inner work that's going to matter most. Like, dude, go disappear for 6 months and just do the work on yourself. Come back. If you know, you did that one time, you're going to be amazed at the ROI that it has.
Is it fair to say that you don't care what other people think?
No, I would say I do care what other people think.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. But you don't, you know, you always say people have opinions, but the bottom line is, so does their opinion matter?
Well, again, you didn't ask that question. You asked if I care what people think. And yeah, I care that they think kindness and generosity and good things. I care about people, but I wouldn't allow what they think to stop me or like, in other words, I don't care what they think if it contradicts what I'm thinking. But again, I take counsel, I listen, I have an open mind. But in general, if someone said, Brad, should I care what people think? Well, in what context? Well, I don't want to try this business because if I fail, then my mother will be right and I care what she thinks. Well, then again, you shouldn't care what your mom thinks. You should care about what you think. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't care what people think. You know, I think you should care what people think, but not if it stops you or if it causes you to sacrifice. Because people, again, I have a saying, you're either going to sacrifice for what you want or what you want becomes the sacrifice. It's one or the other. So you're going to pay one way or the other. You're going to pay with what you want or you're going to pay for what you want. Well, as long as I get what I want, I'm willing to pay for it. Yes. And if that means upsetting people, if that means being the brunt of a joke or being the receiving end of online hatred or in-person hatred, as long as I know I'm doing the right thing, then I'm okay with it. And guess what? You know, you can always tell the pioneers because they're the ones with the spears in the back.
Yeah. Now, you consider yourself, and I hear your interviews all the time, one of the best sales trainers. You've been doing sales trainings when people didn't even know what sales was. A lot of people didn't want to talk about sales. And I have a question for you. What do you think is the biggest mental barrier that salespeople face on why they can't become great closers?
Well, the good ones don't have that mental barrier. It's the ones that have that mental barrier that never really make it.
But what is that mental barrier?
I couldn't tell you. If I could tell you that, man, I'd already be a trillionaire. Here's what I say. Number one, if you want to be a top performing sales professional, stop selling and start helping.
Okay.
It shifts your energy. Like when salespeople want to make money, that's their number one motivation. Yep. They're not as effective as the guy that just wants to help somebody.
I agree.
So your energy is different.
It's not a commission, bruv.
It's just your energy is different. So when someone walks in the room with that energy, you tend to trust them more. Trust is what sales is all about. You have to build trust. If you trust me, bro, you're going to buy from me. If you don't trust me, you're not. Yeah. I could tell you, hey, dude, get Lightspeed and you'll make $1 million a month. If you didn't trust me, you'd be like, I don't know about that. But if I said, dude, do it, and you say, I trust this guy, you'd write me a check no matter what it was for. Sure. So trust is the key. And most people destroy the trust because they're going in with the wrong energy.
I agree. I teach our guys intention, attention, action. You know, what's your intention coming into the office today? Is it to make money or to help someone? And if it's to make money, then you're chasing the wrong thing. You're going to continue to pound the phone. You're going to come out too aggressive. You're going to come out too desperate. So attention, once you change your intention, then what's your attention? Let's find the problem on whatever problem the customer have. And then take action to fix that problem. You know, that's how we teach our people, because I agree with you. If your intention is wrong, you're not going to get good at selling.
Or as good.
As good, exactly.
Yeah, because I used to be pretty good and my intentions were wrong. My energy was not to help, it was to make money. And I did pretty well, you know, $500,000 a year. But I could never really break that ceiling until I stopped doing that. And I think ultimately, again, I was just choosing the wrong energy. I didn't realize what energy was, and that we all have it, and that no matter what, you're going to be operating in a frequency, a vibrational frequency. You're going to operate in one. The question is which one?
Which one you choosing?
And that's the power God gave us.
Yeah.
We get to choose which one. Yeah. So why would you choose negative?
Yeah.
Why would you choose greed? Why would you choose envy?
Yeah.
I won't. And again, when I've caught myself and I'm like, wait a minute, I was doing it on the way here. I had an appointment this morning at the DMV, and I'm thinking, why do I got to go to the DMV? Like, this is ridiculous. So I go anyway, whatever. I go down there. I have an appointment, waited 30 minutes, and then had to leave because I have a life. And so I'm driving. I'm starting to get pissed. And then I thought to myself, see, those were causing me to get pissed. Well, no, I was choosing to be pissed about it. And then I changed my mind. I changed my perspective. And I said, thank God I had the time to go down there. Thank God that I was able to leave in time to hit my other commitments. So it's like you just choose how you're going to look at things.
Love that. You know, there was a gentleman who was on my podcast. He was also on your podcast, Jeremy Miner.
Jeremy Miner,
yeah. Different style of selling. He has a saying, closers are losers.
Yeah.
Yet you have a program that's called Closer School.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree with that statement that closers are losers?
Well, I would disagree, but I would need his definition of a closer first, because he's a closer. Matter of fact, he's closing, a lot of people every single month to take a sales training.
Yeah.
And rightly so, because a lot of people, he's got some great testimonies, but at the end of the day, he's a closer. So is he a loser?
Well, he doesn't consider himself a closer.
Well, then guess what? That's the definition, right? Well, what's his definition of a closer? I don't know. My definition of a closer is when someone says no, you can get them to say yes, and that'll make you rich.
Yeah, you always talk about the difference between a salesman and a closer. Salesman is the order takers.
Well, I mean, dude, you can be a great salesperson and make a lot of money, but a closer is who the salesperson gets when the customer says no. They either become one or they go and get one.
What would you say is that one characteristic that really separates one of them? Is it patience? Is it knowing your rebuttals? Is it having thick skin?
I think it's their energy and their intention mixed with their preparation, their skill set.
Yeah.
Just like a black belt and a white belt, dude. Go fight a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
If you have a white belt, go fight a black belt and see what the difference is. And people will be like, well, how do you become a black belt?
Yeah.
You put in the work. You put in the time over and over and over and over. Repetition, pain, pay the price. Everything's got a price. Are you willing to pay it or not? And that's the question. Okay. Are you willing to pay it or not? So the best closers, they've been able to take enough action to get enough experience to learn and develop into better closers. But again, when he says closers are losers, I think that's more of a marketing thing because it makes people go, huh, what?
Yeah.
But Jeremy's a closer. Yeah. I'm a closer. You're a closer. I think anybody on planet Earth is technically a closer. The question is are they a good one?
Right.
Because have you ever got someone that said no to say yes?
Absolutely.
Then you're a closer, dude. Yeah. And I think if you have a skill set of being a closer, like the better you are at that, the more money you're going to make. Why? Because even if you don't have anything to close people on for yourself, dude, I'm hiring top closers every single day. I'm looking for them.
Right.
I'm on a mad rush to find top closers.
Interesting. You said not everybody's closable.
Not every deal is closable.
Not every deal is closable. Not everybody's closable. Now, I think what makes a great closer is they're cool, calm, and collected. They don't get emotionally attached to a deal. And I think what happens is that when somebody is attached to a deal, every rejection, every objection, every no, they get more and more frustrated, and then they lose the control.
Which is changing their energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So energy to me is literally everything, because that energy is what's going to connect or repel. It's going to build trust or cause a lack of trust.
Right.
So what you just said is, if they need this sale, and someone says no, why no? They react differently. Their focus and intention is of desperation, and desperation is an earthly energy.
So if you are struggling, you just started your sales career, most salespeople are commission only. How do you balance not being desperate, knowing you need money?
Trust
the process.
Just trust yourself.
Trust yourself. Okay.
Dude, have you ever been broke?
Many times.
Are you currently?
No. Yeah.
Seem to work out just fine.
Yeah.
I have certain people that always want money because their life is miserable and they can't afford this and they can't afford that. Well, for about 3 years, I funded all their requests trying to help. And at one point I knew it wouldn't help. Matter of fact, it was hurting. So I stopped the financial support and they didn't die, and all their fears did not come true. They freaking made it anyway.
They figured it out.
We always will. Dude, listen, just put in the work, pay attention, choose earth or heavenly energy, be kind, be generous, and trust.
Yeah.
Trust in yourself and trust in the world.
In your book, you said something that was so profound for me because it just clicked. You said the biggest lesson was for you that you never learned. And there's so many people that have so much access to information, books, trainings, mentorship, but it goes from one ear and gets out the other. How do you make someone learn? You're the pioneer of training. You're the first person to start it, to be able to do interactive training systems. What did you discover? What's the best way for someone to retain information, learn, and apply it?
Well, there's only one way to do it. It's number one, repetition,
okay,
practice, and accountability. You have to have those three things. A lot of people think the content in and of itself is the value, but good content's necessary because you got to know the right way to do it. But once you have the information to train them with, well, training comes with repetition, practice, and accountability. If you don't have those three things, then it's not training, it's just exposure.
What's the difference between training and practice?
Practice is doing. Training is learning, But it's all together. Like training includes practice. So the difference is you're implementing, you're taking action. So if you taught me a rebuttal, that's part of training. You're giving me the good content, hopefully with repetition, because with repetition, I'm going to, internalize it a little bit more. And then I have to go practice it. Or maybe the first time I do, I didn't really remember exactly how you said it, or I didn't realize that, this was going to happen, and it's tonality and it's, the way I looked, the micro expressions, it's all of it.
Yeah.
So you only get that through experience.
Sure.
So if you don't practice, how you gonna get the experience? You can visualize practice and get better, but you have to practice. So practice, people say practice makes perfect. Well, people also say imperfect practice makes imperfect. Well, that's because they're trying to be, it's semantics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Practice at what you want to get good at, and you'll get better at it.
You got people who are complaining they're broke, they can't close, nothing's working, leads are shit, whatever, right? You say, hey, practice. They don't practice. Do they really want it?
Devil's got them.
Devil's got them. How do you get rid of the devil?
Well, again, I believe the devil can't necessarily hurt you unless you let him hurt you. But the devil's got those people. You reverse those 10 things I talked about. You get a sense of urgency.
Yes.
You start implementing good habits. You start looking internally and do the internal work. You start to build your confidence. and instead of allowing it to be eroded. You start to take action, quit planning everything and start taking action. You'll learn from mistakes if you're smart. You'll learn from those bumps and those bruises and the stuff that you're so afraid of. That's what teaches you. That's what really teaches you. You know, you can read it in a book, but dude, go do it. That's is going to teach you way better than that book will. So it's the book and then the practice. You got to practice. You know, get uncomfortable, get out of your comfort zone, look awkward. Don't worry about failing. You know, failure is part of the process. It's part of the recipe.
I agree.
So you have to be willing to fail, and you have to be willing to roll the dice.
Yeah. I got 2 more questions for you. Okay. You talk about black belts. I know you're a fan of UFC. I know you do business with UFC, and there's great fighters. Now imagine there was a great salesperson. You know, you could take Khabib's wrestling, you could take John Jones striking, and you could put together this great fighter. Now I want you to picture you putting together a great salesperson, a great closer. Who would you take and what characteristics to build that person from all the people that you know that are in the market today?
I'd take me, that's for sure.
What characteristic would you take with that? Like, what are you the best at?
Connecting,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, having empathy, building the trust. You know, it'd be a combination of all kinds of people, but in reality, it depends on what I'm selling. Because again, you can, you know.
You think product matters?
Well, sure it does. The avatar matters. The customer matters. So again, if I'm talking to, you know, if I'm talking to an ethnic race, for example, I might not be as good as somebody of that ethnicity. Sure. Why? Because they don't trust me.
But you'll be able to connect.
Like Latinos, they're very familial. They're more likely to trust their own. Okay, so a Latino or a Spanish-speaking person that's not as good as me could outsell me in that market. Why? Because they trust him more. Okay. So it depends.
No, I'm with you.
It's a good question, but I mean, I wouldn't mix anybody. I would go look in the mirror and I'd say, you are all I need and you are the perfect combination. And all I have to do is get better and I will compete with anybody on planet Earth.
I think you're being very nice to certain people that you don't want to exclude, but I'm going to change the question, okay? Because I want to get an answer from you. Mount Rushmore, best sales trainers.
That I know of?
That you believe that these are the best sales trainers in the market today?
Well, some of them you probably haven't even heard of.
Let's introduce the world to them.
Well, there's one guy that's like an unbelievable sales trainer, but he doesn't even teach sales. Wow. Okay. He teaches people relationships. And again, to me, like, dude, it's all about relationships. It's all about communication. So some of the best salespeople and the best sales trainers aren't even teaching sales. They're teaching things that are required for sales. Gotcha. But if you want me to say who's good and who's bad, you know, I don't
not necessarily bad. Who's the top 4 people?
Well, I mean, historically speaking, you can ask ChatGPT and it'll give you a list of people, but it's mainly because they're the most prolific. It doesn't make them the best. Sure. You know, like I'm better at training salespeople than a lot of the people with bigger names.
Like Grant Cardone.
Or like, you know, Brian Tracy, you know, Tom Hopkins, you know, Grant Cardone included. You know, Andy Elliott included. Like, you know, I believe that my actual content, which people don't have, by the way, because I stopped.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I started to go out to the world and then I realized that my software needs to be in the hands of all these other people. And then I didn't want to compete with my own client. So I stopped sales training.
The 7 Bs.
The good news, well, again, I mean, that's just some. My real curriculum is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of stuff. There's word tracks and rebuttals.
Wow.
Like, you know, you can get it 3 ways, good, fast, and cheap, but you can only pick 2. You know how much money that's made me? You know how much money that's made people? Have I told you that one?
Yes. Yeah.
So
That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, I got bunches of them that no one's ever heard before.
How do you feel when people use that and they make it their own? They say like, oh,
good.
Like, you don't feel any type of way.
No, I'm not trying to bottle it and sell it.
No, okay. Well, that's what most people do.
Well, again, I mean, I'm helping most people, you know, I'm helping other people.
Yeah.
Like, dude, listen, Zig Ziglar said it best. The best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want.
Yes.
So if something I said can make someone else $1 million, it doesn't take from me.
Sure.
I guarantee you that will not stop me from getting also.
Yeah.
So when someone else takes something I said and wins with it, I'm like, cool. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I am not mad. Anyone can take anything I say and run around and use it. And if you give me credit, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. Yeah. But I mean, I've got a lot of sales training. I'm thinking about like creating it all as a, you know, 2025, 2026 plan just to go dominate. Cause I don't think there's any sales trainers out there right now.
Yeah.
That are really laying it down the right way. Jeremy Minor, again, different selling style. But I know that he gets a lot of testimonials.
Yeah.
I've heard good and bad. You know, Andy Elliott, you know, I've heard good and bad. But Andy, I think he sold himself, which is a good trait, meaning, you know, he really believes that this stuff works. And he's also teaching people what really moves the needle,
sure.
which is self-belief.
Yep.
So I like that. Yep. Why? Because again, you know, what you were saying, I like that. Like I see a lot of people don't realize you're a top sales trainer. Just you're not out there sales training. You're sure. training your team.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people out there that know the fundamentals of sales that are in the world. But Mount Rushmore, I would probably say the old school because I grew up with them. So like
Tom Hopkins.
Yeah, like Brian Tracy. You know, I would say, I mean, you know, in the car business, it was Joe Verdi, Grant Cardone, Tom Stuker. In life, it was Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, you know, students of theirs, Bob Proctor and Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. Like that dude's a salesperson like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You know, Ty Lopez that just left, you know, they're all great salespeople.
Do you think if Grant was to get on the phone and make 200 dials, do you think he can actually close someone without using his name?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ego.
His technique, I think, is a little outdated. Like,
yeah.
I don't think the high pressure.
Yay or nay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, hey, do it anyway. You know, it works for him because of his personality. You know, and he sold a lot of people on a lot of things. So I wouldn't say he's not a good salesperson, but I would say that a lot of the things that he teaches, the average person wouldn't be able to pull off. It doesn't make it invalid. It just means, you know, he doesn't factor in what's the average person going to be able to do and say. So I think, again, some of the best sales trainers, they can help a wider audience.
I want to piggyback off that because, you know, we have salespeople in our company listen to Grant Cardone and they get on the phone. They're like telling the business owner and they're selling telecom, yay or nay. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're not Grant Cardone. You cannot use the same, you know, technique that Grant uses. Everybody knows who Grant Cardone is. Grant Cardone is calling the people that don't know him. And he can say that, but you cannot say that, you know. And when I'm looking at, you know, these top salespeople or top sales trainers, I'm like, I'll murder you on the phone. Like you and I go head to head on the phone. I'll outwork you. I will outsell you. I'll perform you. So when I is that ego or is that confidence?
Confidence. That's
confidence. So how do you determine when you have a bad ego versus a good confidence?
Track record.
Okay.
I mean, you've already outworked them. You do more sales calls than Grant Cardone, I'm sure.
every day.
Yeah. So again, I mean, if someone said bet on Albert or Grant selling telecom on it, they're going to get 20 leads each. I'm betting on Albert all day.
So you truly believe market matters.
What does?
Market.
The market does matter, and your preparation to sell telecom. Like you'd probably outsell me selling telecom.
But that's your sales process, right? Your step one of your sales process is preparation.
Yeah, like if I wanted to compete with you selling telecom, you know, I'd do well.
Right.
I'd do very well. But if I wanted to compete with someone that's in there doing it day in, day out, knows the little things that you've heard 1,000 times that I've never heard before,
sure,
I wouldn't stand a chance. But, you know, in reality, I would just practice and go out there and do it. And then I would bet you in a very short amount of time, I'd crush, I'd any given day beat you. But again, once you reach a good level like that, one day you're going to beat me. The next day I'm going to beat you. It's not like you're going to kick my ass 12 months out of the year.
Sure.
It's always up and down and up and down. Why? Because our mindset, we get a little too comfortable.
Yeah.
We go on vacation. We let our pipeline, you know, start getting a little low.
I agree.
You know, and the person that just constantly doesn't ever relent is the one that's going to win in the long run.
I might miss my flight, but I have to ask you this question because that was one of the questions that people wanted me to ask you. You look at someone like Conor McGregor, who achieved, you know, great success in mixed martial arts, came from absolutely nothing, made all the money, and now no one likes him, right? They say his ego destroyed him. What advice do you have for people that are making money in sales? They came from nothing. Maybe now they're driving their dream car. Maybe they're living in their dream home. Maybe they're vacationing where they wanted to vacation, but they're allowing the ego to take over and overpower their thoughts and behavior. What advice do you have for them?
Well, I'd go back to what you said. Everyone hates him. Not everyone hates him, number one. Number two, they said his ego destroyed him. He doesn't look destroyed to me. He's worth almost $1 billion. He's probably surrounded by that wife that never leaves him.
Sure.
You know, he's got some troubles, but the higher you fly, the bigger of caliber bullet they're going to need to bring you down. So, I mean, again, I'll bet you if Conor McGregor were asked, do you hate yourself? He's going to say no.
You don't think so?
No.
Wow.
No. And I don't think everyone hates him, and I don't think he's destroyed at all. I think he's doing just fine. And I think if a lot of people that think that about him would be doing half as good as him, you wouldn't have time to think about how miserable Conor's life is, which I'm telling you, you're looking at it from social media. Dude, social media is so distorted. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
It's like, you know, but in the essence of the question is, you know, how do you keep your ego from destroying you?
Yeah.
Number one, I don't think your ego is your amigo, as they say. You know, ego is there to protect your little inner child. So you build an ego to protect you because you haven't went in and done the work. So again, if you want to stop your ego from ruining your life, get rid of it. Like, go trade it for confidence.
There's a bad ego and a healthy ego. You think we have a healthy ego, or you don't think we do? No, okay.
I think the ego is built to protect you because you're afraid and you're scared and you're weak and you're soft. So if you just get rid of the ego and replace it with confidence, real confidence. Why? Because you've done the work, man. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You're not a liar. You're not a cheat. You're a freaking real individual that did the work. You're what they call real. You're real. Well, then your ego goes away. That's why when you go up to some of these black belts, they're not bullies. They're not bullies. They're not running around poking people in the chest, being jack-offs.
Right.
Because they have no ego anymore.
Wow.
They have confidence.
Love that.
And they know that you're messing with the wrong person, so they don't have to run around and prove it to you and, you know, talk smack. A lot of them will let you get away with murder.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you know, hey, they got no egos. They literally worked it out of them. I say get rid of your ego and replace it with real confidence.
Love it. Love it. Brad, I'm sure we're going to have to do the second one because there's probably another 40 questions I didn't get to ask you. But I appreciate your time. I appreciate you letting me interview you and getting the knowledge from you to the world. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.